Hello everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day. It is a Saturday that I'm recording this, but you probably won't see it till Sunday because I probably won't update it. So, I hope you're all having a fabulous Sunday or a fabulous whatever day it is that you're watching this. Today we are going to do something a little different. We're going to do an altar tour type thing. And the way I actually have my altar set up is I have an altar and then I have a bookshelf beside it that doesn't have books on it. It has lots of things on it. So we'll look at both of those today. We probably won't get too into the individual items because they may entitle their own video type thing, but I don't know, we'll see. I like to ramble, so we'll just see how far into it I get. You'll have to excuse my mess. My boyfriend is staying with me for the next few days. My parents are going out of town, so we're house sitting, and I have quite a few animals in the house, so it's nice to have an extra set of hands. So that's what that is. I was watching YouTube and you can see our beautiful Christmas tree, which is being blocked by this speaker. Just pretend it's not there. But I have my tree set up here. Eventually I'll show you the tree that's in the living room because it's massive and it looks beautiful. So, but let's stop rambling and let's just get on into this video. I'm gonna do the best I can. I only have one tripod at the moment and it's kind of pathetic. So I don't know if I'm gonna use it for the whole thing or if I'm gonna hold it part of the time or what I'm gonna do, but we'll figure it out as we go. So here we go, guys.
So here's my faraway shot of the altar, just kind of a general overview of everything. We'll go more in depth and talk about each individual item, or at least most of the individual items. Some of the items on the altar don't have a purpose, like these beads that are around the center crystals. They don't have a purpose, they're just kind of there. So they're just something I made and they just kind of sit there. So, but anyway, we'll get more into that as we go in and look closer. Okay guys, so here's a kind of a overview up close type deal of my current altar setup. I didn't do any cleaning or anything. Well, okay, I lied. I moved a couple things because there was just clutter, but this is what it looks like typically on a day-to-day basis. Oh, that's the athame of mine. I don't ever use it, so it's just kind of there. This is a candle sniffer that I got with the actual candle holders that I have right now. There's a little Merlin in the corner. This in front of him is a little incense burner, but it kind of looks like his little cauldron, so I loved it. Over this plate is from the dollar store. And I use it to make oils and sachets and that kind of stuff so that it doesn't get all over the table. Over here you can see my foot. The trash can's like right here because it's the easiest place to keep it, but yeah, so that's the trash can. This is my mortar and pestle, obviously. This is a tea light holder that I've decorated for Christmas with the little pine cones and poinsettias. I was gonna get some candles for it. They had some red and green tea light candles at Walmart that I was gonna get, and I didn't. And it's like halfway through December at this point, so I'm kind of like, I'm debating whether or not I'm gonna get them. I probably won't. I don't know. Here is my aloe vera plant. It's actually our aloe vera plant. His name is Alan. And we've had him for like a year now, I think, I want to say. I'm not sure. Boyfriend's not here to check my math, so. I feel like y'all are crooked, so I'm gonna try to fix you. That didn't work. Oh well. Hopefully y'all aren't too crooked. Okay. I've got the red and the green candle. They're different sized candle holders, because I bought this set that said it. Oh, I have the box right here. Let me just. Oh. Oops. Okay, so I bought this box because it said 7 pieces, and I'm like, yes. Well, I didn't realize that even on the box, none of these are the same size. And I didn't realize that. So at the store, I actually opened it because I was at the thrift store, so I knew there wasn't going to be 7 pieces in there, but there's 2 more in here, and then there were those 2, and those 2 looked like they were the same size in the box. And when I got home to pull them out and put them on the altar, guess what? They weren't. So, yeah. I have 2 prayer bead type things hanging here. They're both handmade. Handmade. That sounds odd. I made them both. Let me see if I can get them. So, they're not made out of anything fancy. These are just beads that I got at the store. And see if you can see this. I can't remember where the camera is. So that's one of them. These are like supposed to be amethyst points. I'm not sure if they really are or not. But then there's the beads. And so this one is actually a full 108, I think is what the prayer beads are supposed to be, and these are actually a full 108. But then I've got this other one is kind of just a novelty dill that I've made. We went to the store and they had the skull beads, and I loved them. So let's see if I get the camera to focus on the beads here. Focus. Let's see here. It does not. There it goes. So I thought these beads were adorable. And I had these beads already, the big ones. I had a bracelet that I bought at the Halloween store. And so I got the little beads and I used the big beads as the marker beads. Then there was this guy. He was on clearance and I fell in love. So this is just kind of a makeshift. I don't actually remember how many beads are on here, but this is just a makeshift prayer mala type thing. Okay. Let's focus back on the table now. There you go. Okay, so there in the center of the altar is my 4 most powerful crystals, so to speak. We'll get in closer to those in a little bit. Actually, we can just do that now. How about let me move you up a little bit so that I can reach them. So, this one and this one are both selenite. This is obviously a pyramid. Let's see if I can. There you go. So this is a pyramid, selenite pyramid, and I saw this in our store here, and I just fell in love with it. And we really like selenite. I feel like we've talked about this a million times, but we really like selenite because it's a self-cleansing crystal. So I keep these on my altar at all times because, you know, they cleanse themselves. So I can push any negative energy off into these and they take care of themselves. I don't have to worry about it, because often when I do magic, it's late at night and I don't like to clean up. So I just don't. Now, I'm not sure where I got this. I've had it for a very long time. But this is just a giant cluster of quartz. And I love quartz and I love amethyst. And there's actually a chunk missing, I think, out of it. Right here, there was a longer piece that I pulled out to use in a spell. But I love quartz and I love amethyst, so I've got a huge chunk of quartz and a decent sized chunk of amethyst. And these are usually my centers when I do crystal grids. It's either these or that spire. I haven't used the pyramid very much because it's rather new. I've had the spire for a while. Oh my goodness. You just throw that. Okay, I also have this little guy. He hangs out there. And this is my little Anubis statue. My altar is not really just laid out for my god or goddess, which I don't really have a goddess yet. My altar is more laid out for the current season and just what I find visually appealing. So I don't have offerings or things that appeal to my individual god, so to speak. In this box, I have another prayer bead set. This one I actually bought from our store, and I'm in love with this one to the point where I don't use it. And if you've heard me talk about Books of Shadows, then you know how bad that is. When you like something so much that you can't use it because you're too afraid you'll mess it up. And so, you know, my opinion on that, and yet here I am, a hypocrite, right? But these are actually amethyst beads and hematite beads, and these of course are not anything, but they're absolutely beautiful, and they resonate very well, and I love them. And so I hardly use this because of the stretchy material. I'm afraid that the more I use it, the more like I'm gonna stretch it out. And you know, I've heard people talk about how, oh yeah, my beads broke yesterday or yada yada, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't have that happen. So they sit in a box on my altar. I'm not gonna pull that off. What I'm gonna do is just show you the whole tree. So here's my little tiny Christmas tree that's on my altar. It has 2 giant ornaments on it, but in the tree there is a scarab beetle type, kind of like a prayer bead type thing, and then there's also this, which I made as like a portable prayer beads that I don't use. They just sit in my tree. I don't know why I don't use them, I just don't, but they're just Walmart beads. I mean, it was super cheap. These are super easy and cheap to make, and if you guys are interested in how I do that, I can make a video showing you the process. Maybe I might have to get a better camera before I do that, but I would love to do that because they're so easy and they're so inexpensive. I mean, $10 will get you a good set that you can hang on to, versus, you know, I paid 30 or 40 for my amethyst and hematite one, which granted it's gorgeous, but I mean, this one probably really only cost $15, maybe the most. And the thing was, you know, the $15 doesn't just pay for that one, it also paid for the string in that one, and the other one. And I made one for Jacob as well. He has his own set. So okay, so that's the altar. I'll try to do sort of like a out a ways shot of it, far away shot, I don't know what I'm trying to say, so that you can kind of see it a little better. Now we will move on over to this shelf here, and you can actually see it. All you have to do is turn your head. And I have this humongous shelf. You're crooked again. It's just the pivoting. Just stop pivoting, right? Anyway, I have this giant shelf full of stuff, so let's go talk about that. Alright guys, so now that we've taken a look at the altar, we're going to kind of talk about it. My altar is a little different, probably, than what most people's altar is. A lot of people, you know, their altar's all about their god or goddess and that kind of stuff. Mine is not. Mine is more just a place for me to work. And that has to do a lot with how I believe the god works, or gods, how the gods work. And I don't know if I have time to go into that right now. Maybe I'll make a separate video just while I'm at it tonight. Well, maybe we'll talk about that more. I don't know. Anyway, my altar is a sacred space for me to work, and what I do tend to do is reflect the current season in the altar. I've been trying to get more into the seasons because I forget about them. You know, being raised a Catholic, I don't
think of any other seasons other than the ones that I'm used to. You know, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving. You know, and there's a lot of pagan seasons that happen, and each season is important and it's its own thing. And so hopefully I'm looking forward to talking about that more and getting more acquainted with that. So especially Yule, I'm about to dive into that and learn some stuff about Yule, and I'm hoping to make a Yule video sometime within the next couple of days. I'm hoping to get the boyfriend involved again, but we'll see. I feel like I say a lot. That's just because I'm thinking of what I want to say next. There it was again. So my space is to work. It's not to honor my God, so to speak. It's not to please any one particular God. I do have an Anubis statue on my altar, but that has not so much to do with Anubis as much as the reason Anubis is my god is because he's a ferryman to the dead, and that's what I do for a living. I'm a ferryman of the dead, and so I have to remain true to my life's calling. So I keep that there as a reminder that, you know, in the end, at the end of the day, that's what I do, and I have to keep that in mind every time I'm doing something. So that's why that's there, but there's really nothing else there that defines Anubis. There's that scarab beetle, but it's just more of a Egyptian type symbol, and I thought it was pretty, so that's why it's there. I just do things differently. I feel like my stuff that I use is not all connected, really. I'm all over the place. I use crystals, I use herbs, I use sigils, I use divination, that kind of stuff. I'm everywhere. Prayer beads, meditation, astral travel, all kinds of stuff. I use all kinds of things, and my altar reflects that. My altar reflects that I am not strictly doing work for Anubis all the time. I do work for other gods if I need other things or goddesses. I don't really get too in touch with the goddesses because I haven't explored them as much, but that's why my altar looks a little different. I was gonna talk about some individual stuff, but I feel like I covered a lot of it in the original tour video when I had the camera pointed at the altar. I talked about why some of the things are there. Again, right now it's set up for Yule, then that has a lot to do with what's on there. You know, when the next season changes, you'll see a difference. You'll see a lot of the stuff go away and new stuff come out, and I really got into that for Samhain this year. That's where it started, and then I did a type of a fall kind of thing for some reason. I went from Halloween to fall to now I'm ready for Yule. And I set all that up at the same time we set the Christmas tree, so it was very Christmassy and light and happy, and the season was definitely present during the setting up. Something I really wanted to talk about while we're on the subject of altars is this table was $12 at Walmart. It's not super high-end, but it works, and I understand some people don't have space. You know, they're in the broom closet and they can't put an altar in the middle of the room without getting questions. So to that I say, disguise it as something else. Keep in mind that the point of the practice is to take information from other people and make it your own. So take the idea of an altar, take what people are using, what they're putting on their altar, and run with it. Don't get a book and read it word for word, and then, you know, a lot of books they talk about altar setups. Scratch those altar setups. Totally block those out of your mind. Take some ideas, maybe, like which side is the side for the god and which one is the side for the goddess, and which side is the Athene, and you're supposed to have something for earth, air, and water are present on your altar. These are just things that I've seen in books, and you don't have to do that. As a Cancer, I associate with water. That's what this is. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let's see if I can make it focus. not really. But anyway, well, maybe we'll talk about that some other time. I focus on water, so a lot of the time, if it's not a specific season, I have a seashell that I put on there. It's a large clamshell that I use to hold some crystals or something that I'm currently working on, and I set that on there. Or I usually have a bottle of water on there, as weird as that sounds, but it has my Works logo on it, which has an address, so I'd rather just not have that in the video. So I actually moved it for the first video, and I haven't put back. But my boyfriend's, I think, is Earth, I want to say. I can't really remember right off the top of my head, but that's why Alan's on there, because I do a lot of work for both of us, and it's important to incorporate things from both sides into that particular working. So where I was going with this is, you can make an altar look like anything you want it to. If it just looks like a standard desk with some books on it, you know, power to you. That's what you need. I can't stress enough, in the second part of this video I talk about these, and they actually have a label on them. They're ammo cases, and you can go to Walmart and get these, and they were relatively inexpensive. I can't remember an exact price, but I mean, you just open it like this and you can put all kinds of stuff in it. And I got these originally because I traveled a lot. I didn't have a definite altar set up, and we did rituals wherever we could, so I traveled a lot with my stuff, and they're fantastic. You can stack them, and they don't look like anything in particular. You could make them, I mean, you could deck these out, put sigils all over them or whatever you wanted. This one's heavier because it's got more stuff in it, but you know, I mean, look at this. It's like this is like a travel spell kit. I could sell this. And it's just got tons of herbs and tons of, I think there's even like stones in here. There's black salt, all kinds of stuff. And you're ready to go. And all you have to do is close the lid and slide it under your bed, and nobody ever knows what's there. They do have a hole that you can put a lock through, and you can lock these and nobody can get into them. So, oh, that's funny. I was just talking about my shell, and here it is. It's under the altar right now. I have another chest that I store my other items for the different seasons off to the side. I store that elsewhere. But the point of the story here is that just because you're in the closet doesn't mean that your practice has to suffer. But at the same time, keep in mind that you don't need an altar to be a witch. You don't need one. I didn't have one for the longest time, but my magic was just as justifiable as any other person who maybe had this decadent altar in their witchy room entirely dedicated to witchcraft, you know. And there are people like that, and that'd be so neat that everybody in the world, I'm sure, that is a practicing witch would love to have an entire room lined with bookshelves dedicated to magic, but that's not practical for a lot of people. So just keep in mind that you don't even have to have an altar, or do an astral altar where everything is just in your astral plane. Then you can have whatever you want. Build a witchy house, a castle, you know, anything you need is present in the astral. Just don't let the altar stop you. Don't get into witchcraft and learn, oh, I have to have an altar? Well, I can't do that. And then stop there and put the book down, because chances are you were sent on this journey for a reason, and if you stop, you don't make it all the way through, then who knows what could have happened, what the future held that you just let go. So make an altar out of whatever you have. Anything and everything works. Make an altar that you have to pull apart and put together. Don't buy altar kits. I don't agree with altar kits. Well, okay, let me change what I said there. Altar kits are great because they come with a lot of basic stuff that you can use, and they're usually not very expensive, but again, they come with a lot of stuff, but at the same time, it puts you in that mindset that you have to have that stuff on your altar, and that you have to stick to the specifics of that altar kit that you bought. So if you're going to buy an altar kit, buy one just to get the stuff. Don't buy it to use as your setup. You know, don't follow the setup word for word. I mean, if that's what you want to do, if you want to word for word your setup and do it exactly like it is in the book, you know, then that's what you need to do. But I think that personalization is so important. You know, there in my list of witchy importance, there is intent number 1 and personalization number 2, and that's it. That's my witchy importance. Is, you know, your intent is so important in everything that you do, but at the same time, if it's not personal to you, then it's not as powerful, in my opinion. And I could be totally wrong, but in my opinion, if you don't put your personal twist or touch on it, then it's just not the same. It's not as powerful. So I think that's all I have for now. Be looking out for some more videos. I'm really enjoying making these, so I hope you've enjoyed. Do go look for part 2. I'm sure I'll talk about that here in a little while when I do the outro of amazingness, but just keep in mind, you know, keep it personal when you do this, and don't let anybody tell you that you're not a witch just because you don't have this or don't have that, or you don't have an altar, or you don't have an athame, or whatever. You know, if you believe that you're a witch, then goddamn you're a witch. So, oh, another thing, just real quick, while I'm thinking about it, witch and Wiccans are not the same thing. I have been seeing that so much lately, and it's driving me crazy. Witches are not the same as Wiccans. You need to go look that up, because I'm not going to explain it right now. But if you're reading a book or reading an article or something, and they use witches, and then they turn around and use Wiccans, stop reading that article, because it's not good. Go do some research, figure out exactly what a Wiccan is and what a witch is and what paganism is. Do your research. Don't just delve in, because then you'll be making mistakes, and people that are more accustomed or that have learned will not take you as seriously, because it looks like you don't know what you're talking about, and that's not your fault. You just read incorrect information. Just remember that being a pagan, being a witch, we get a lot of our information online, and just keep in mind that not everything you read on the internet is true. So with that, we're gonna do a fancy cut. Not really, it's normally just and then we'll end this video. Alright guys, so I hope you've enjoyed this video altar tour. I've decided to split this into 2 separate videos. I know in the beginning I talked about we would tour the altar and then tour the shelves beside the altar, but it came out to be so long. So what we're gonna do instead is to do a part 1, part 2 type thing. So this is part 1, the altar tour. I'll put part 2 in the description. I'll probably upload them on the same day, so you won't miss out on anything. It just 40 minutes is a long time to make a video go for, and I know a lot of people. I don't know if everyone is like me, but I really like the longer videos. I like to just let them play in the background while I'm doing stuff, and kind of tune into them or put them up on the side beside the altar, so I can just glance over, kind of like a TV show. But I don't know how many other people do that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and divide the videos into 2 separate videos. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this tour, and again, go check the description to see part 2, and where I talk about my shelf, and I also talk about the bottom of the altar, because the table is lifted off the ground, so there is some stuff underneath the altar, and I talk about that more in the second part, the second video. So thanks you guys so much for watching. I'm really enjoying making these videos and getting these feedbacks, and I still encourage you to get in touch with me, contact me, message me, add me as a friend, follow my Twitter, which everything is in the description. You know, don't be shy. I'm not shy. I like meeting new people, especially people in the witchy community. So look out for that second part. Go check that out if you have the time. And again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.